Hello everyone, my name's James and today I'm going to be discussing The Walking Dead and basically just my opinions on the new episode and why it may possibly be getting worse. Anyway, so firstly I'd just like to say that this video is going to be full of spoilers, so if you haven't seen up to the latest episode, I would recommend that you click off this video and then come back once you've seen it and caught up, unless you just want to ruin the entire plot for you, that's fine. But anyway, I watched the last season of The Walking Dead and they introduced Negan, played by Jeffrey Dean Morgan, towards the end of the season, specifically in the last 10 minutes, in which he savagely beat someone to death and you didn't end up seeing who it was, and most people seem to be wondering who did he kill. Of course, if you put in who DI into YouTube, who did Negan kill came up first, as well as a lot of other searches, and there were literally hundreds of videos speculating on who may have died. But in the end, none of these were ever really correct. I mean, they're all just guesses of people who weren't on the set, but then in the end it did turn out to be Abraham, which wasn't a massive loss, but he was of course still a good character and it was kind of sad anyway. But yeah, so he was the one who took the savage beating in the end, but it just didn't really surprise me, and after the way they just had that long pause, I felt kind of insulted, and honestly I didn't really care at all who died. I mean, they could have killed off Dale's RV, they could have killed off Rick, they could have killed off, I don't know, it wouldn't have been as affecting on me, except of course the only way I feel like they could have surprised me is if he killed himself. But of course, Negan, that just wasn't going to happen anyway, was it? But then obviously, the one thing which I didn't expect after that was that he was going to kill off Glenn. But then you see the way he's framed, he's the only character in the frame there. And then he basically discusses that doesn't fly with me and I'm going to kill someone else. And then he takes the beating. But of course, seeing as he already survived being ripped apart by a horde of zombies, it did seem as though he could survive this. And to be honest, it did kind of cheapen the death for me and many other people. I didn't really feel as sad when he died, and I thought that thing in the background, maybe that was just a massive dumpster or bin, whatever you want to call it. Maybe he'd just crawl under that and survive. Or of course there was the other scenario in that just as he's about to get beaten to death, this man Nicholas just falls from the sky and takes the beating for him. I feel as though the only reason they did that whole death thing where they faked it was just to test the waters, because they were really too afraid to kill everyone off, which wasn't the case if you looked at older seasons. For example, Herschel, Dale, Andrea, Shane, Laurie, Merle, loads of these characters, they all just died within like the first 4 seasons. The last 2, Tyrese, does it really count as main character? What about Beth? I don't know, but it's not as if I think that the amount of character deaths really makes up for what is a good show or not. I think that there can be no deaths and still be an interesting show. But if you look at, for example, season 2, I mean, that was just abhorrent. I mean, just look at this clip in which nothing seems to happen.
The barn's full of walkers.
As you can see, that wouldn't even phase the characters in the more recent seasons. But then it turned out that the little girl was dead all along, Sophia. I honestly didn't care, that whole plot was horrible. And then again, for season 5, that really was, for me, I actually preferred season 2, because Father Gabriel just dragged the whole story down. He was the catalyst of boredom in my opinion, because he wasn't an awful character, but he just tried his best to be. I think that's what the problem was, and I'm a Christian myself, but he was so afraid to kill the zombies. I mean, they're dead, get over it, surely you would want to live. And then the way he said about how evil the group was and how they were horrible, that just wasn't even on. They saved his life and he had locked people out before, so he was no better than them anyway. But yeah, so these are just some things. It's been boring before. Then there was some interesting things establishing being in season 7. Of course, there's Negan, who for me is very entertaining, and I hope he'll be really good in seasons to come. And that clip where he said about Carl that he was a future serial killer, that made me think, you know, that's kind of true, because he was the only character who showed no emotion whatsoever, really, when all the characters were being killed in that circle by the bat. And then again, it made me think back to when his mum died. He just stood there, he just had a little tear in his eyes, didn't really do much though. And then when he killed that boy for absolutely no reason, so I thought I would actually quite like to see that happen. But in terms of the story, I don't really think it's getting much worse. I think that the main issue is that the writers only care about the ratings, and they are too scared to kill off many of the main characters. But overall, that's been my view on the show, so let me know how I can improve my videos. Like this video if you enjoyed it or shared some of the same views as me. Subscribe for more videos similar to this one. See ya.